9 miles down, pressure crushes steel in seconds. No sunlight has ever reached that depth. Cold, near freezing, crushing weight all around, nothing should live there at all. In 2025, a team using cameras built for a completely different expedition pointed one toward the wrong stretch of seafloor. What came back on the recording still has not been fully explained. The Kraken first showed up in Scandinavian folklore centuries ago, described by Norwegian sailors as a sea creature so massive it could be mistaken for an island. Old accounts claimed it could wrap its arms around a ship and drag the whole crew under the waves in seconds. For a long stretch of history, most scientists treated these stories as nothing more than exaggerated fear from men who spent months at sea and saw shapes in the dark water. Nobody had proof. Then, in the 1800s, real specimens of an enormous squid started washing up on beaches and getting tangled in fishing nets. Scientists realized the Kraken legend was very likely inspired by a genuine animal, a squid so big and so rarely seen that sailors who spotted one assumed they had witnessed something supernatural. That squid finally got its own scientific name, and it turned out to be even stranger than the myth once researchers actually studied it up close. What they found was not some ship-crushing monster. It was something almost as surprising in a different way, an animal built for total darkness that had been quietly living in the ocean the entire time without anyone getting a clear look at it. Museums began collecting fragments of these animals long before anyone photographed a living one. And for decades, the only proof scientists had came from tentacle pieces caught in fishing nets or bodies that washed ashore after storms. Each new piece only deepened the mystery instead of solving it. What scientists eventually learned about its true size still surprises people today, and it turned out the real animal was strange enough on its own without any exaggeration at all. The giant squid, known by scientists as Architeuthis dux, is one of the largest invertebrates ever confirmed to exist. Females can grow to around 13 meters long when measured from the back of the body to the tip of the two long feeding tentacles, and some examined specimens have stretched close to 18 meters. Males tend to run smaller, closer to 10 meters. Most of that length actually comes from the two long tentacles rather than the main body, which usually stays under 2 meters. For most of human history, nobody had ever seen one alive. Everything scientists knew came from dead squid that washed up on shore or turned up in the stomachs of sperm whales. That changed in 2004, when Japanese researchers photographed a live giant squid attacking bait at a depth of about 900 meters in the North Pacific Ocean. It took until 2012 for anyone to capture actual video footage of a live adult in its natural habitat, again in the North Pacific, using a submersible that followed the animal down to similar depths. Giant squid usually live somewhere between 300 and 1,000 meters down, in a zone deep enough that almost no sunlight reaches it. Their huge eyes, among the largest of any animal on Earth, likely evolved not to spot prey, but to detect the shapes of approaching predators, like sperm whales, from far away in nearly total darkness. That is still far shallower than the bottom of the Mariana Trench, which sits nearly 11,000 meters below the surface. So even this legendary animal, the one that likely inspired the Kraken myth, is not actually a trench dweller at all. There is something else in the ocean even bigger, and it took scientists more than a century longer to prove it was real. While the giant squid gets most of the fame, a different species actually beats it on raw weight. The colossal squid, or Mesonicoteuthis hamiltoni, lives in the cold waters of the Southern Ocean around Antarctica, usually at depths ranging from a few hundred meters down to more than 2,000 meters. Confirmed specimens have weighed close to 500 kilograms, and some scientists believe the largest individuals, known only from beaks recovered out of sperm whale stomachs, could weigh as much as 700 kilograms. That makes it the heaviest invertebrate ever documented on the planet. The colossal squid also carries the largest eyes of any known animal, measured at roughly 27 centimeters across, built to catch every scrap of light in the pitch-black water it calls home. Unlike the giant squid, which grips prey with rows of small teeth lining its suckers, the colossal squid has sharp rotating hooks on its arms and tentacles, making it a far more heavily armed hunter. Those hooks can swing in a full circle, letting the animal lock onto struggling prey from almost any angle, a feature no other known squid species has evolved in quite the same way. For decades, almost nothing was known about how this animal actually behaved, since scientists had only ever examined dead or dying specimens pulled up from fishing lines. Then, in April 2025, a remotely operated vehicle called Sebastian, working for the Schmidt Ocean Institute near the South Sandwich Islands, filmed the first confirmed footage of a live colossal squid in its natural environment, a juvenile drifting through open water far from any boat or trap. It was the first time in history anyone had proof of what the species actually looked like alive. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this analysis, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. Even this animal, heavier than any other invertebrate on record, still is not a Southern Ocean resident, since it sticks to the cold Southern Ocean thousands of kilometers away. The creature that actually hunts these giant squid for a living, though, dives deep enough that its story connects much more directly to the question of what could be moving through the deepest trenches on Earth. Sperm whales are the largest toothed predators on the planet, with males reaching lengths of around 18 meters. Their entire way of life revolves around diving into total darkness to hunt giant squid and other deep-sea prey, and their bodies are built for exactly that kind of punishment. A sperm whale typically dives to depths between 600 and 1,000 meters on a normal feeding trip, staying under for around 45 minutes at a time. Tagged individuals have been recorded diving past 2,000 meters, and researchers have documented dives reaching close to 2,250 meters, deep enough to reach the same zone where giant squid actually live. Sperm whales manage this by shutting down nearly every non-essential body function while they dive. Digestion stops. Blood gets pulled away from the arms and skin and redirected straight to the heart and brain. The whale can hold its breath for well over an hour on the deepest dives, longer than almost any other animal its size. A large oil-filled organ inside its head, called the spermaceti organ, may help the whale control its buoyancy and focus sound waves for hunting in complete darkness where eyesight is nearly useless. Scars found on the skin of many sperm whales, left behind by the hooks and suckers of squid twice their size and strength, if not in weight, are some of the only physical proof scientists have that these underwater battles actually happen. Even sperm whales, the deepest diving giant on this list, still fall short of the trench floor by a huge margin. Their deepest confirmed dives reach only about a fifth of the way down to where the Mariana Trench actually bottoms out. Whatever holds the true size record at that depth had to be something built completely differently, something small enough and strange enough to survive where nothing whale-sized or squid-sized has ever been confirmed to go. This is where the story turns away from squid and whales entirely, toward a creature almost nobody has heard of. It is called Alicella gigantea, and scientists nicknamed it the supergiant amphipod. An ordinary amphipod, the kind found in nearly every lake and ocean on Earth, usually grows no longer than about 1 centimeter. Alicella gigantea grows to more than 30 centimeters, roughly 20 to 30 times larger than its relatives, which makes it one of the strangest size jumps found anywhere in the animal kingdom. This is not folklore. It has been photographed and physically captured many times by scientific expeditions using baited cameras and traps lowered into deep ocean trenches. Researchers have recorded it at depths ranging from around 3,890 meters all the way down to 8,931 meters. placing it firmly inside Hadal territory, the zone found only in the deepest ocean trenches on the planet, including sections of the Mariana Trench itself. Recent genetic studies suggest a single global population of this species may be spread across more than half of the world's oceans, showing up in trenches thousands of kilometers apart with nearly identical DNA. Scientists still are not completely certain why this one species grows so much larger than every other amphipod alive. Leading theories point to the crushing pressure and near freezing cold of the deep sea, conditions that may allow cells to grow larger and animals to live much longer than their shallow water relatives, a pattern researchers call deep sea gigantism. Some genetic studies have also found unusually large genome sizes in this species compared to its smaller relatives, which may play a role in how big its cells and body ultimately grow. It explains part of the puzzle, but the full mechanism behind its size is still being studied today. While the supergiant amphipod is genuinely enormous by trench standards, it is nowhere close to squid or whale-sized. The true title for the most extreme survivor at the very bottom of the Mariana Trench actually belongs to something else entirely, an animal so different from anything on this list that its size barely matters next to what its body can survive. In 2014, cameras lowered into the Mariana Trench near the Sirena Deep recorded a pale, soft-bodied fish swimming past at a depth deeper than any living fish had ever been filmed before. Researchers Mackenzie Garinger, Thomas Lindley, Alan Jameson, Erica Gutza, and Jeff Drazen studied the footage and specimens, and in 2017, they formally described it in the scientific journal Zootaxa as a brand new species, naming it Pseudolaparus suirae, now commonly known as the Mariana snailfish. The Mariana snailfish has no scales and a soft, almost jelly-like body built to handle pressure instead of fighting it with a hard shell. Scientists have identified a natural chemical called trimethylamine oxide that builds up inside the cells of deep-sea fish like this one, keeping proteins stable so they do not get crushed or broken down by the surrounding water pressure. The deeper a fish lives, the more of this chemical its body seems to carry, almost as if there is a built-in limit to how deep any fish can survive based on how much of it a body can hold. It is a small animal, nothing close to squid or whale-sized, but it currently holds the record for deepest confirmed living fish on the planet. That single fact says something important about the entire trench, something that connects every creature on this list back to one central truth about the deepest place on Earth. No confirmed giant squid, colossal squid, or sperm whale has ever been documented at the true bottom of the Mariana Trench. Every one of those animals, as massive as they are, lives thousands of meters above that floor. What has actually been confirmed at Hadal depths, in the deepest trenches on the planet, are creatures like the supergiant amphipod and the Mariana snailfish, animals built small and strange rather than big and dramatic, shaped by pressure into forms nothing like the Kraken of old stories. That does not make the trench any less astonishing. Less than a quarter of the ocean floor has ever been mapped in detail, and scientists are still describing new species from Hadal depths on a regular basis, including the 2025 footage of a live colossal squid that had never been filmed before in over a century of searching. The real story of the Mariana Trench is not a monster waiting in the dark. It is an entire world of genuinely record-breaking animals, some heavier than a car, some deeper diving than any human machine built before 1960, and some so different from anything at the surface that classifying them took scientists decades. The deepest place on Earth keeps proving that the truth, once fully documented, is stranger and more interesting than the legend ever was. If this kind of deep ocean mystery is your thing, subscribing helps more of these stories reach you the moment they come out.